7 days, your body's going to start tapping into those fat stores for energy. The cravings may decrease a little bit, but energy still may fluctuate because we're still in that adaptation phase. And this is your body's first step towards that, again, that metabolic flexibility and being able to switch between energy systems. 2 to 3 weeks, blood sugar levels are going to start to stabilize. We'll start to reach that homeostasis. We're going to get reduced sugar cravings, clearer thinking, improved mood. And this is because insulin levels are going to start to balance out, and your body's going to become a lot more efficient at utilizing fat for energy. And in 1 to 2 months, we'll get that full adaptation. This is where your body fully adapts to lower sugar levels. Your metabolic health is going to start to improve. So if you've got diabetes, if you've got insulin resistance, this is where we're going to start to see a lot of those improvements and changes start to take place. We're going to get more sustained energy because our body's not constantly relying on that blood sugar kind of fluctuations. If we're constantly utilizing fat for fuel, that's going to stabilize us a lot more. And then hormones like our insulin and leptin are going to start to function more effectively. So again, it will get better. One of the keys here also is this is 1 to 2 months. We're just doing no sugar January. There's no reason that you can't continue this. I've had people continue for 3 to 4 months because they felt so good. You might not see how there's a possibility of you continuing to do this, but once you get to that 30-day mark, you're going to feel so much better and be used to it. The cravings are going to be gone. You are more than welcome to continue doing this if you would like to, if you're someone who really has a lot of these metabolic challenges that need to be addressed. So if we don't use sugar for energy, again, what's going to happen is we're not pulling it into the muscles. It's going to go to the liver and then end up being stored as fat. So we don't really need to talk about this that much. So what can we do to help with the symptoms in the meantime? Drink plenty of water. We really need to work on protecting our sleep as well. Our body's we're already not going to have a lot of energy. So make sure you're getting plenty of sleep. That's also when your body heals and repairs itself. I've got a whole 5-page guide I did on sleep. So if you guys are struggling with sleep, I can send you that sleep guide. Those are all lifestyle things that you need to start doing from the time that you wake up to the time that you go to bed to help make sure that you're maximizing your sleep. Light exercise, super important. Not your normal exercise, unless your normal exercise is just walking around, right? We really need to take it easy during this period of time. If you've got a headache, if you've got a lot of sugar cravings, if you feel like your sugar levels dropped, you can do a little bit of light exercise. You can go for a walk. You can do some air squats, a couple jumping jacks. That will actually create a cortisol response, and that cortisol will cause your body to release glucagon, which is going to pull sugar and increase your blood sugar levels a little bit as it prepares for exercise. So you can also use a little bit of light exercise to help push through some of those sugar cravings or give you a little bit of burst of energy. But I don't want you doing your full exercise routine. And then stay mentally tough and push through it. So like I said, it's going to seem like it's hard now, but it will get easier as we go through this. So just a personal testimony from last year. Last year, I was training for a marathon, or I was supposed to be training for a marathon. As of January 1st, I was signed up for a marathon on January 26th, 27th, something like that. But I wasn't trained enough for it, so I couldn't do any of my long runs for the first 10 days of no sugar. I went from running, I think it was December 28th, I ran 10 miles at like a 7:40 pace and felt great. And day 2 or day 3 of no sugar, I went for a 4-mile run, had to stop 3 times, and had like a 9-minute pace. I felt like there were bricks in my legs because my muscles were activating a ton. My body was used to having a bunch of sugar available to utilize to fuel my muscles. And because I didn't have any sugar in my system, my body wasn't quite able to adapt and pull energy and use fat for fuel. So once I got through that, it took me probably 16 or 17 days to feel okay. I ended up dropping from a full marathon to a half marathon because I couldn't do any of my long runs without extra sugar. And then I set like a 4 or 5 minute PR in the race because I broke no sugar the day before. And then I took energy gels or sugar gels basically. And it was like rocket fuel because my body hadn't had it in so long. It was so sensitive to it. It felt like I was running downhill. And I set like a 3 or 4 minute PR. So for athletes and stuff, getting used to switching these energy systems is really important, especially for endurance athletes, because at some point, how many people have heard of like the during a marathon hitting the wall. Hitting the wall is basically when you run out of sugar stores and your body can't produce enough sugar because it can't get into fat storage. So a lot of, not a lot, but some long distance endurance athletes will go completely keto and not have any sugar, because if they're burning fat for energy, that's going to be a much more sustained energy system, and you're not going to actually hit the wall. Now, if you're going to try to do that as an athlete, fully adapting to get back to how well you performed with sugar can take like 6 months. So most people don't want to do it. But there's a lot of really good like athletic performance enhancing benefits you can get from getting your body to switch energy systems like that as well. Okay, so if you need support, because not everybody's body is going to be handling this the same, there's a lot of different things that we can do to support this from a metabolic standpoint. So if you're someone who feels like you need a little bit of extra support, grab me afterwards. There's a lot of supplements that can help kind of get you through a little bit. You don't need to take any of these supplements, but if you want to maximize your benefits, this can help with a lot of that sugar regulation stuff that's going on. So biggest tools to be successful: plan your meals out and prepare ahead of time. Don't get yourself stuck in a pinch, because by the time you're hungry, it's too late to figure out where your food's going to come from. Give yourself plenty of rest, drink a ton of water. And then we have a Facebook group online, LWR, or Lakewood Ranch Holistic Health. Join that group, ask questions and stuff in there. There's also a Wellness Way no sugar, or a Wellness Way challenge page, which has 20 or 30,000 people in it that are also going through. Are you in that group? You're, okay. You got to take some of that stuff with a grain of salt. You can eat Lily's dark chocolate. I have a bar in there for later. Lily's chocolate chips, fire. As long as you get the ones that are no sugar, because they're sweetened with stevia, which you're allowed to have. I probably ate more ice cream last year during no sugar than I have in the rest of the 11 months of the year. But I made it myself at home with coconut milk, coconut cream, monk fruit sweetener, and then like vanilla extract in the ice cream maker. It was so good. So that's kind of what I want to jump into now. If you need to leave, you're more than welcome to leave. I can pull up some of these websites and show you guys different options for things. If anybody has specific questions about foods or meals or recipes, let me. We can send you guys these links. Force of Nature, I just had a huge meat order delivered yesterday and another one ordered delivered today. So I stocked up on a bunch of high quality meat. I do get my meat online, at least on my red meat, because I want to make sure that I'm getting what? It's easy to get it online, but there we go. That's where I get my liverwurst and stuff from. I get that all online. Force of Nature. And then the other website is Grassland Beef, or US Wellness Meats. Quality of your meat is really important as well. We need to make sure we're getting grass-fed, grass-finished. That's another sticking point. They'll tell you if it just says grass-fed on the package, it's no better than conventionally fed, because what they do is they feed it grass for 90% of its life, and then they fatten it up with corn 10 days before they take it to slaughter, and it's got the same amount of fat coming from grain as a conventionally raised animal would. And you really want to get regeneratively farmed. Some of these places are catching on and they're doing grass-fed, but they literally just put a bunch of grass in a feeding trough and lock the cows in a stable and make them eat grass out of a trough. So that's not really what we want either. So regeneratively farmed meat, that's grass-fed and grass-finished, super important, or wild caught. On my Pinterest, these links should also all be in the emails that you guys have gotten. So again, if you haven't gotten the emails, just check with us up front and we'll make sure you get that intro email and get signed up for the rest of the emails. So anybody have specific questions about stuff? Because that's the end of my slides. No? Everyone's going to do amazing? Yes, Carrie.
Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that stevia is okay?
Oh, yeah. So
Like why stevia is okay and why the other?
So there's a big difference between artificial sugar. So artificial sugar and natural sugar alternatives. So I would say non-nutritive sweeteners So stevia and xylitol are not artificial. Those are derived from plants, whereas aspartame and sucralose and stuff is made in the lab. Those cause cancer in rats. There's no business eating those. So the 3 or 4 non-nutritive sweeteners that you can have are stevia, xylitol, monk fruit sweetener, and erythritol. The other ones create a lot of insulin and sugar imbalances in your body, and they're artificially derived chemicals that we should never be drinking or consuming at all. But yes, I don't like the term artificial sweeteners does not include things like that. So there's a lot of like confusion just because of the language of it. But a non-nutritive sweetener is a non-glucose, 0-calorie sweetener that can be either artificial or natural. So, and it says which ones you can have on here. Only sweeteners that have no blood sugar intact, and I guess they should also add on there, and are not artificially produced. But it's stevia, birch, xylitol, erythritol, and monk fruit. So like the Lily's chocolates are stevia, so those are fine. Yeah.
I guess my question about that though is because like if I look at the ingredients, there's like sunflower,
Lecithin.
natural flavor and stuff like that. So that's why I'm like confused why it's allowed.
So not all of them have all of those things. I don't think. If you get like the pure dark chocolate, are you
Yeah, this one's like the dark chocolate baby chips.
Those are what I eat a lot of. So the Wellness Way, you can contact the company and you can ask them what are their natural sweeteners.
Okay.
Sometimes they won't tell you what they are because it's proprietary, but you can ask them and say, does this contain this specific thing? And they'll tell you no. So there's a lot of brands that, because the Wellness Way is a huge company.
Yeah.
So the approved stuff that we sell that's not Wellness Way branded, they have reached out to the company to confirm what is or is not in their supplements. So like the Bulletproof Collagen, I think it says natural flavors in there too. I don't know specifically what it is, but we have reached out to the company to specifically ask whether things that are in there. So as long as you have a trusted source that's like done their research, you can also just research them. If something says spices on it, you can email the company and say, does your spices include MSG? And they'll tell you. And if they don't tell you, then it definitely does. Yeah. Yep. You have a question? No? Good? All right. So because it's only day 1/2, depending on when you started, maybe it's day -1. I imagine people will have questions that are going to come up. So on the 14th, can you confirm that real quick, Mary, on the iPad? I think it's the 14th. We've got a sign-up thing back there. I'm going to do like a little round table in the office. No one signs up for it, then I'm going to go home early. But that's going to be more like open forum. So come ask questions. I'm not going to have slides or anything put together. We'll just hang out and we can talk through some things if you're struggling. 2 weeks in, most people should be feeling pretty good. So if you're still feeling crummy at that point in time, we can also have a deeper conversation about that. But sign up for that if you guys want to come. And then on the 28th, right? I think the 28th, I'm going to talk about how to set your diet up and build like a healthy diet moving forward and how to reintegrate into normal society. All righty. So sign up for all those talks if you want to. And thank you guys for coming. You're welcome.